Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your host Edward McQueen and April Garner Davis.
And good evening to all the people out there, and good evening to all my co-hosts, April Garner Davis. How are you doing, April?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Well, it's so great to be on this show this evening. It's always good. It's always good to get this local. She's not local talent, but she was born here.
Just local roots.
Yeah, that's where our roots are. So, to our audience, we want to welcome you to WCM Live today. And as usual, we're bringing you some information that, who knows, you may be able to interact to be beneficial to you all along with our guests. But today, April, I think I think you know more about it than I do. But we're going to be talking with who, Miss Kaprece James. She's part of the Weaver clan. Okay, I'll let her know that. So because the family is looking at this today. She's part of the Weaver clan, and but it's a great family. So hey, April, why don't you kind of kick us off with who our guest is?
Okay. Well, we will start by welcoming our audience to the show this week. Thank you so much for joining us in advance. Thurman Brandon Hemingway, thank you so much for the belated birthday wishes. I appreciate it. And of course, we welcome you to interact with our guests. You can drop in your comments or questions if you have any for our very special guest tonight. And then also, we will share those comments and questions on the screen. We're talking about youth empowerment for global change. And we have a young lady who I've had the pleasure of watching grow up. Now I'm sure I'm much older than Kaprece. I just don't know how much older. And so I remember, watching her grow up as a little girl. And it's amazing how, just like you said, that Weaver clan is something special because all the young people in that particular family have gone on to do some amazing things. And Kaprece was the start of all of that. So I've been watching her over the years. She is doing work not only on what she may think is a local scale or may even, see as a local scale. She is doing some international work, true global work in the mentoring space. And Brother Edward, that's phenomenal for anyone. But it's even more special because she is from Horry County with very special connections, to the Whittemore family. And when I say Whittemore family, I mean that entire Whittemore system that all of us are connected to. Right. I remember her great grandmother, Mrs. Stella. Listen, if you didn't know anything about how to be a little lady, a special lady, a young lady, or whatever, Mrs. Stella would pull you by the hand and she would whisper a little something in your ear to let you know. She was always very encouraging and empowering, and I remember her dearly. So I think it's wonderful that we actually have Kaprece today on her birthday on the show. And then also
April, we were just reminded of that by who? None other than
her mama. Yes, her mama is watching. You know that. I saw her recently. I said, she's going to be on the show. She said, no, I don't know, but please make sure I get it. So yes, she is here today. And so we thank her for being here. And I want to say this too. We thank her husband for, allowing us to just carve off a little bit of time tonight to talk to her before they go celebrate her birthday. So I'm going to let Kaprece introduce herself, but we have none other than Kaprece James on the show with us tonight. Kaprece, how are you doing? I think there might be a delay, but we got her. She's en route.
Hey, okay. all the way from Maryland. I mean, what do you expect?
Yes, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. You can hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you and see your beautiful face. Thank you so much for being with us this evening. And Kaprece is the founder and CEO of Stella's Girls. And so, Kaprece, why don't we start with, first of all, you telling us a little bit about yourself, heritage, background, all that good stuff. And then let's get into the mission and the vision behind your organization.
Yeah, well, as mentioned, I am from Conway, South Carolina. Of course, I graduated class of 2001 at Conway High School. And so people always, when I come home, are like, are you from Conway? I'm like, yes, I am. And so Whittemore, the rec center, all those things. And is really, what I believe is what started where I am now. So once I left Conway, I graduated with my bachelor's in political science at Savannah State University, and then got my master's in public administration with a focus on public policy and nonprofit management. And then I finished all my doctoral work. God gave me Stella's Girls, so I haven't defended yet, but I have finished all of the doctoral work, and that is in public policy and making sure that I'm able to still have the advocacy space. People that knew me when I was younger, I wanted to be a civil rights attorney, but now I get to do something much, much greater on the front end and being able to advocate for laws and legislation before we have to defend those people on the back end. And so for the last 20 years, me and my husband have been married 20 years, and I have been moving all around the US and in Japan as an active duty military spouse. So my husband did serve in the Marine Corps, which is why many people had not seen me really in South Carolina or in Conway, because I was moving every 2 to 3 years for the last 20 years. And so what we're here today is to talk about Stella's Girls. I started Stella's Girls when we were stationed in Japan. We were living in Okinawa at that time, and I was doing work in West Africa. I was doing work in Liberia and focusing on arts education. And then I also was doing work in the local community of Okinawa, Japan, and that was working with all youth, but in particularly the youth in Liberia. My girls were not moving forward with their education. And if anybody knew, Stella was very critical about getting your education. And so I wanted to make sure that those girls had the opportunity, and that period pads and $25 was not going to be an obstacle for them to not go to school. And so I started doing stuff on my own, and people started supporting. And then all of a sudden, God gave me Stella's Girls. And so their Stella's Girls kind of bloomed. And we started in Maryland, because I had just left Maryland, in Japan and Liberia. And today we serve Sierra Leone, Uganda, Kenya, Ethiopia, Zambia. So I am doing this work. And so it's, being in the car doing this, all my friends know I am always on the go. And this is how, and then this is how we do it. And so I'm very blessed and very thankful for the young people that are in my life and those that I'm able to bless all around the globe. And also, the girls and young women that we're working with every day. And it's been 10 years, but today Stella's Girls is 9. So it's my birthday, but also a very special day for Stella's Girls as well.
That is such an incredible overview of all the wonderful things you've done so far, Kaprece, and your background. And it's amazing. The first question that popped into my mind whenever you were talking about all the places you visited around the globe to push your mission is, how did you do it? Basically, I can only imagine that you probably were up against some red tape, some policies, procedural things, and yet I imagine that you pressed forward regardless, because you knew that the mission was just that great. So tell us a little bit about how you even got into the space and in so many different places to be able to do what you do.
Yeah, I all the time I ask myself, how did I get here? But really, I think from the work that I was doing in Liberia. So I was helping a friend start her nonprofit in Liberia, and she was a teacher. And so my work was just to complement initially that work. And then, of course, so those that may have never been to Africa, when you go to Africa, you're family. It doesn't matter. You look like them. You are their family. And so they immediately welcomed me in. And I was working in the very rural parts of the community. So no running water, no lights. I've slept on the floors. I've bathed in the rivers. And so that to them showed them that I was very serious about the work and support for their girls and young people in the community. And so I started going to do conferences there. And one year, in 2018, I was doing a conference for women and girls, and we were particularly teaching girls how to make their own reusable pads. But that session had 25 girls from 5 different countries. And so these girls took that training back to their countries in their villages, and they started doing the work. And so 2019, the group of girls from Sierra Leone reached out and said, hey, we've been running your program and would like to start Stella's Girls here. And that was the ripple effect of what started from the one African country to the 7 African countries. Young people just end up finding me through different groups on Google, and would tell me what they wanted, what they needed. If they had a team together, that's what we would go. So we're very particular about the young people in their communities doing this work. We're a very grassroots approach, so not like a lot of your other international orgs that come in and bring their own staff. Typically, Americans go in and we change everything and we change the culture. I'm very particular about making sure it is locally homegrown for them, that we just provide the resources. So that is really how I got started. Is these young people are the ones that they need the resources. They have the means, they have the way, they have the passion and dedication, but they need the resources to get the work done. So it's them, all because of them.
Well, that was empowering that they even, felt safe and actually confident enough to reach back to you to say, hey, we want to do this, where we are. And they actually believed in what it is that you were doing and saw the impact of it. So, that's, like you said, that's how the fire starts. And it's great that it was ignited by the young people who actually believed in your work. And so as you think about all of the things that you've done, like the culmination of the countries that you've been to, the outreach that you've seen, the impact, I know that there are some aspirations to possibly bring more of that stateside. So tell us a little bit about, what are your thoughts as far as bringing it into the United States, and even to maybe impact some rural areas, come into Horry County. I know we were just talking about that pre-show, how there could always be possibilities. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, so when COVID happened, right before COVID, we got stationed to Maryland. So we moved to Charles County. Charles County is a very rural area in Maryland. It's the most southern part of Maryland. And so when COVID started, I had just quit my job. I was working for a military company or nonprofit, and I left that. And because it was my second pandemic, my first pandemic, I was on the ground doing work in Liberia with Ebola. So I already knew what was going to happen. And so I started offering virtual programming for American students. And so we were offering tutoring. So I had probably tutors from all over the US that were tutoring students since they were going to school virtually. And from that, a group of students, girls, 7 girls, kind of fell into my space. And then they started this peer mentoring program. So I actually am the full-time vendor for mentoring services here in Southern Maryland. So I serve 3 counties in Southern Maryland, and then Western Maryland, I serve a county. And so what me and my staff of young people, they're all ages 18 to 24, we go into the schools and provide social emotional learning, STEM programming. We do cultural trips. I take our youth to advocate at the county. So we have county commissioners, the state in Annapolis. They go to the UN. I take our students abroad. And so that is what we do full time. So that's my full time work during the day here in Maryland. But yes, I have been wanting to bring this same work to Conway. And I know that our young people and youth can use it, especially when you can train these young people. They can do amazing things. Every day I get to watch 18 to 24-year-olds deliver amazing content to empower their peers. And so that's what I would love to do, for Conway, and have that opportunity to do that.
Yeah. I was reading across your website, just looking at your mission and, some of your statements, your programs. And one of the things that caught my eye was all about the way you're trying to empower the youth and the focal points that are a part of your mission. So it talks about, speaking out against gender-based violence, advocating for reproductive health, fighting for education access, and then being a champion of rights that include even LGBTQIA community. to create this more inclusive community. Now, as you know, all of that is being challenged right now. So as you kind of work through this amazing mission, what are some of the things you have thought about doing to make sure that you still have the mission intact and it's sustainable, even outside of all of the challenges that are being presented right now, especially since, you are working with an organization that is rooted in, grant support and all of that. It's just such a big thing. I happen to do some trauma-informed care work in the nonprofit area, and I know what kind of a roller coaster we're on right now. So talk a little bit about that, and how you're trying to maintain even through all of that.
Ooh, you said a whole word right there, that trauma-informed care, because all of our youth, I mean, even their parents, what I've noticed working with young people here in Maryland, their parents are the root cause of their trauma because their parents are, pushing their trauma off. But in this space, I have been very intentional about not changing anything that I am doing. I am still saying girl. I am still saying women. I am still saying Black. I'm still saying LGBT. And so that has not changed for me. I'm a part of a very protected CEO education space that if anything does happen, I do have lawyers that will come and support the work that I'm doing. So I am blessed for that. But all I have done is continue to say youth and uh-oh.
No,
you guys still hear me?
Yeah, you're still here. You're still here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
It said youth and girls in the space and our grants. And so I'm very careful about where I take grants from. And so if they're not aligned with my mission, then I actually do not apply for it. All money is not
We'll give her a moment.
Yeah.
They're traveling. They're probably in a little dead zone.
Right. But she's not driving here.
There she is. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, I'm like, we sorry, we hit this dead spot. Look, I always tell people, real people problems is what we have to deal with.
That's right.
But yeah, what I was saying is all money is not good money. And so just because someone is giving out money doesn't mean that I'm going to apply for it. So they have to also align with my mission and my goals. And it's something that I will not change because the work that I do is sometimes life and death. Because a lot of the girls that we advocate for and with gender-based violence, I have 9, 10-year-old girls we're trying to make sure are not married and becoming child brides. And so if that work stops, if their education, us paying for their education stops, pretty much we are stopping the livelihood of them and them not being children anymore. So I'm very going out again. I'm very particular about how how we do that work.
So you must have it seems like you're enjoying all of this. Even though it presents challenges sometimes, but it's also enjoyable, right? I'm sure. Because if your results are it's positive, yeah. And a place like Charles County, Maryland, I didn't know. I thought by now it had gotten more metropolitan than anything else. It's been rural for a long time, but no. But I thought
that'd be more metro.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are. So, anybody that knows anything about Maryland, most people know Prince George's County was known as the most affluent African-American community. Charles County is now the most affluent African-American community. However, those of us that are in the local community know that still 50% of our population is in poverty. So we have the of both sides. We still have parts of our community that don't have running water. and so that don't have broadband access just because of where they're located. And so our county is growing. There's no doubt about that. Our the city, I'm gonna call it a city, Waldorf is, the area, and then the town of La Plata. Those are the ones that are really growing. But yeah, we haven't quite reached that metropolitan site yet. Last night I was moderating a debate for our president commissioner candidates, and these were the conversations that we were having because our county is changing. So,
with downtown DC so accessible, I think that's a wealth of activity for you and your organization to interact with your, I'm going to say, children. Okay. I'm sure you're taking advantage of it.
We do. And, interesting enough, I mean, because you know the area, transportation, however, is our most critical issue in Southern Maryland. Right. A lot of our families do not have access to transportation, so they have no cars, and we do not have a public transit system in Charles County. So a lot of the donations and things that come in for Stella's Girls, the grants that I write, often includes transportation, so I can take our youth to the museums. Yeah. I mean, several of my youth, they've been to the White House 3 times. They're like, why are we going back to the White House? And I'm like, do you know how many people have never been inside the White House? And some of you have been in here 3 times. I'm like, the opportunities I've afforded my youth, they're a little spoiled. And don't even realize it sometimes, because I'm always trying to make sure that they're exposed to as many things as possible.
What's the number of students that you currently are dealing with, or?
So we have a little over 600 youth here in Southern Maryland, because with us being in 3 counties, at one time we were in 15 schools, and then we still have our one-on-one programming. So in the course of a year, just for Maryland, we serve a little over 1,000 students.
That is phenomenal. It really is. Really? You were talking about that.
Can't wait to come to Conway.
Look, hopefully Conway will welcome me with some fun, so I can bring Stella's Girls home.
There you go.
Yeah, we need to work on that.
Right, Kaprece, you were talking about the access issue. I want to go back to that for just a moment, because you're right, that transportation piece is so critical, no matter where you are and no matter what you're offering or what you're doing, and your ability to kind of, I guess, meld that into the grant narrative so that you can ensure that there is access to your program is actually good advice for anyone who is thinking about doing, any type of work in this space, because, even when it comes down to education and healthcare, if people don't have transportation access, they won't be able to take advantage of those things. So much, when you think about the fact that you're offering a mentoring program that might be affiliated with school systems, but not necessarily embedded in the school system, that's a really important piece. So I just want to commend you for even thinking about that type of a detail. That's really impressive. And so, you have programs that are rooted in educational support, community engagement, advocacy and awareness, and leadership development. All of the things that young people need, youth and young women. And so can you share with us, if you can recall one real quick, a success story, something that happened that you were like, yes, this is exactly what we were trying to do, or the result that we were looking for. Something that was like really it inspired you to keep going and moving forward with this work.
Yeah, I actually, so of course it's Stella's Girls, but I do mentor some males. One of my male mentee, who's been with me since he was a junior in high school, he was a student that was, during Black Lives Matter, he was putting all the rallies and protests together in our county. And so many people probably from home may not know, but I used to be the president for the state of Georgia for NAACP when I was in college.
Wow.
And
Okay.
so that advocacy and the background for me is very rooted in what I do and why advocacy is a big part of this. And so I helped mentor him through that time. And then we started this this group, I think they said youth, I can't remember the name of it now. Youth changing, but they were doing sessions like this. So every month we were doing sessions with the elected officials, but this was run by young people. The young people were asking all the questions of the elected officials during Black Lives Matter. And so when it got time for him to go to school, like he's like, I'm gonna run for mayor. And I'm like, no, you're gonna go off to college. Like you go off to college and then you come back and then I'll help you run for office. And so then he's like, okay, he got into Howard. And then it was, well, I'm going to stay home and go back. And I'm like, no, you're going to stay on that college campus because I need you to go and have, more thoughts around diversity of thought with other students. Yes. And so he graduated last year, May. And he is now running for county commissioner for District 1.
Yes.
And so I'm like, here it is, this student we planned 5 years ago to make sure that he graduated. He came back and he ran for office. And I'm like, this is my why. And to see him show up in spaces and to see him in all the places, I am always so proud and so honored, one, to be his mentor and to still be the person he calls and texts almost every day about a question, about something to think about. But I'm like, that is the why. To take, and he's a farm boy, so he grew up on a farm, and so and he's biracial, and so having to balance that and what that looks like, and to get him to where he is now, and I'm like, this is my why, this right here.
Yes, and you know why that's so important? Like right now, locally, meaning in Conway, Horry County, there's a number of different elections that are going to be happening in November. School board, county council, all the things. And, conversations kind of, across the bridge are linked to not having enough candidates, people who've been groomed for politics, people who maybe had an early interest and then someone decided, you know what, I'm going to make sure that this person, this potential candidate, whoever, male, female, gets all that they need in order to really understand what they're getting into when they enter the political arena. And because that is now an issue or a problem, we're seeing that there are districts that probably won't be represented equitably. There are the same people entering the race and constantly winning the race because there are no challengers per se. And, to me, it's like, if we're always hearing from one side, then we're always going to get what we get. And people have to kind of set aside their fears about entering the political arena. And if they have just like a true organic interest in what's going on in their community, they probably will be, great city council, county council, school board members, or what have you. But no one has really taken the time to say, you know what, I see little Kaprece over here, I see little Edward over here, and they have expressed an interest in being a mayor or, being the president or being, on city council. And so I'm going to, make sure that they move in that direction. So what you just said is powerful because, that is positive grooming. That is the way that you mentor and you not only plant the seeds, but you give it what it needs to watch it grow into, what it is that we need in the community. And so that's a wonderful story. Thank you for sharing that. And we're going to have to watch out to see whether or not, things work out for him. But that is just great. And that is the power of what you're doing through your mission and, all the things that you're really pouring into these young people. It is phenomenal. So I know that you all are, kind of probably getting close to your destination. So I just want to ask you to share with us what communities can do to support what you're doing. And then also, if you want to, just put out a little something for Horry County, if you want to, come back and do a Stella's Girls here. But what can the community do to support you in your efforts?
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the things you hit on is in this political climate. One of the things that funding and programs have gone away for youth. I mean, that just a few weeks ago, I mean, I
Mhm.
had my youth delegates with me at the UN. We were, they were advocating at the UN level, but also at that same time, I had my youth for Youth Advocacy Day at our state capitol advocating for bills and for funding. And so I think that's a place to start. I tell people protesting is great, but policy runs everything. And
Mhm.
so if you are not at the table, looking at the policy, understanding the policy, advocating for policy for the community, you're not going to get what you need. And
That's right.
so that's one of the things for us. And really, I mean, people are always shocked that I've only been in Charles County for 6 years because we've grown so much. But it's because I'm always at the table. But we always need funding. We always need funding. That funding goes right back into the community for our youth. Like I said, all my staff that I hire, they're actually 16 and up. During the summer, I have
Mhm.
16-year-olds. When we started this work of mentoring, they were 16 and 17. They were juniors and seniors in high school. That
Wow.
started this work. It started with 7, then it went to 25, then it went to 300. And so, but
Mhm.
this is being fed by young people. And I pay them, they get paid minimum wage, that they get benefits. And so that is where all the money goes. And so we've been lucky because we are contracted with the counties that we serve. So that's why I say like we are the full-time mentoring
Yeah, yeah.
program because we have been contracted with either
Mhm.
the health department or our local management boards to do this work to make sure that youth are taken care of, which is why I would love to bring it to Horry County.
Conway.
And it needs to come to Conway. So many of my classmates, just from the class of 2001, talk about there is not enough things for you. And that used to be the same thing here. Like this town, it's bigger than Conway, but Conway is growing too. And it's like, but
Mhm.
if you're not investing in your youth, I tell people, I'm investing in your human capital.
That's
Yep.
right.
I am developing your next employees, and if I can't provide them to be sustainable, to have healthy minds, you're going to have a hard time as an employer. And so if
Mhm.
you're not investing in your youth, then you're not preparing yourself for the future. And so, I would love to bring this back home of where it started. And if there are any opportunities for funding, even to do a pilot, to see the work, I would be more than willing. With all of my programs being all over the place, I'm not always there. I come, but I train an amazing team. And so
Mhm.
long as there are people that are willing to do the work, I can train the people. I can
Mhm.
train them and we can keep them motivated and we can keep it going. And that is how the movement for mentoring really starts. And so it is critical. And I'm always thankful. I tell people it's full circle for me because Miss Margie McIver,
Yeah.
Miss Lenore Sadler, those were my mentors. And I look back and I'm like, Reverend Adamson's, and I'm like, man, this is full circle for me because they did that for me. And me not even knowing that I would be the one following behind them to do it. So that is how we were able to thrive and grow in Conway. And so there has to be the torch. Somebody's got to pick it up to continue that work. And so that is something that I would love to do if the opportunity presents itself.
Mhm.
Those three names that you named, they're probably waiting on you right now to come. So,
They
And
they
we
have
fully
called they
support.
have called and
Mhm.
asked. They have.
And
yeah.
we
They
fully
have
support.
they have called and asked, and I'm like, man, I need to find the people. If I can find the
Mhm.
people, we can bring it there.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
And
Well,
so
I tell you,
we got AI now, so that should come into play somewhere. You know what I mean?
It does. Look, I teach my young people. So we have, like I said, we do STEM programming, but I teach my young people how to use AI in a smart way and not
Correct.
using it to be a crutch, but how to use
correct.
it smartly. So
Well,
we
Mhm.
well,
do need.
and actually, I'm talking about you for your organization also. I mean,
Oh,
if there's
yes.
can be found a way the way you can use AI, and you may not have to be so remote all the time.
Hmm.
Uh, you
Yeah.
know, and it's just create a convenient way of breaking ground in Horry County and
Yeah,
not having
we
transportation as
could.
an issue.
Yeah, we really could. I mean, I've done virtual programming. I mean, we still do it. I don't prefer it for this young generation. They
Mhm.
really need that in-person social time. Like
Correct.
they are struggling with social anxiety. And
Hmm.
so my team knows. I'm like, I'll do virtual, but I don't prefer it for them because they're not going to grow and thrive the way they need to if they're not in person and able to speak. However, we could do something, we could pilot something virtual just to see if there's an appetite for
Yeah.
it and if youth are interested and grow it out that way. So that definitely is something we could talk about further.
Caprice, I think that's an interesting insight because I think that, well, I believe that when people see our young people walking around with this, that they believe that they can do just about anything because they have this little mini computer in their hands, not knowing that most of the time this computer it's like a safety blanket.
Hmm.
It's that thing that actually they use for socializing. However, they use it as like a safety mechanism for themselves and as a kind of like a, I'm not comfortable connecting with a human. I'd rather connect with this. And so to your point, uh, the hands-on piece and the in-person piece is really, really important for young people these days. And, hopefully there's a creative way to kind of, package it all together, or like you said, to make it work in the form of a launch or a pilot or whatever. But the bottom line is you have what it takes to make it happen, regardless of what it is. And God has certainly blessed you with the insight and the gifts that you need to make this mission sustainable. So I'm sure that if Miss Marjorie isn't watching tonight, she's going to watch. She'll probably reach out again. And I'm not even going to try to emulate her voice tonight, but I'm sure you can already hear her in your head. Reverend Adamson is still doing things. Miss Lenore, I'm sure, is still doing things. And that's very powerful, too, because they are still doing the work, even though they have worked for so many years in the mentoring space as well. They really are trying to pour that into others to kind of take the baton and run with it. So we just thank you for being here with us tonight on your birthday. Happy birthday to you. And we certainly hope that you continue this wonderful work and that you find a way to bring it to Horry County. And WCM Live is always there for you if you need anything. Brother Edward also has the magazine. So if you ever want to, drop us an article or something, I'm sure he'd be more than willing to publish it. So that the community, the local community, and even those Whittemore, I guess, arms and legs that are out there everywhere can see it. But we certainly do count it a blessing to have you here with us tonight. So thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Brother Edward, do you have anything to say before we
Well,
the night with the priest?
What's for that? What are you all going to be ordering? What are you eating at what restaurant?
I have no idea. He is surprising me, so I have
I
no
love
idea.
it.
That's surprise. Okay.
Yeah. Their business. Look.
Look, April, it is totally okay. I tell people, I'm like, well, this year will be our 20th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I'm like, we're like the open book. We're also like the young OGs in this.
I love that. I love it. And I'm glad he's still surprising you. That's what keeps us. There you go. There you go. Well, thank you so much for being with us, and we wish you all the best. And again, please reach out to us anytime, and we'll certainly be reaching back to you. So continue blessings to you, Kaprece.
Thank you all so much.
All right. Thank you so much. So, Brother Edward, we're gonna let Kaprece go and enjoy her birthday. She's amazing. She is absolutely amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm getting anxiety, and I'm serious. I think she'll be great in Conway. I think she'll do great things in Conway.
Oh yeah, she can play. Yeah, oh absolutely. I mean, that goes without saying. Kaprece is world traveled. She's done international. Global programs. Evidently, she has a way with the young people that I'm still impressed by the fact that, she poured into someone and they felt like, this was so great. I want to make it happen in my own little community. And they wanted to pour into others in the way that she poured into them. And that's what the village is about. That's what the network is about. That's how we should be uplifting one another. So I think that that's wonderful. And I'm going to show her website so that everyone will know where to go if they want to support her wonderful organization. So it's really easy. It is stellasgirls.org. And let me see if we bring it onto the stage. Yes. And so you know you're in the right place if you see this, empowering youth to become champions of change. That is wonderful. You can find out more about Kaprece, the leadership and the mission and the vision, but also what they do. And you know, this is one of the things that I love to point out whenever we're talking to organizations. Look, donate. She talked about the funding, and funding isn't always through federal grants and things like that. The community can support private foundations, you know, private donors, you know, that money adds up. So please donate if you can. You can be in touch with them should you want more information. And this is just wonderful, all the great things that she's doing and the focal points within these various areas. We really need more programs like this. And so it's great that she's introduced this to the world, and hopefully, you know, it'll come back home soon. This is great.
That's a great website. I like that.
It is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah. And so, and again, the website, if you all are interested in finding out more, is stellasgirls.org. So we really appreciate it. And thank you, look, Mama Valerie, for watching. Betty was sharing it on social media like, that's my girl, you know. She was making sure that everybody knows about it. So
all of you weavers who are looking at it in New York and New Jersey and all those places. You know what your great granddaughter in some cases, or your
granddaughter and cousin and niece and all the things. Yeah,
and what she's all about. I mean, she's you can look at great potential there. Mm-hmm. So you all, the weavers, you all should be very proud that someone like that is on the scene, and try and encourage her to come to Conway anyway.
She's going to come in, and I'm sure sprinkle her magic all over the place. Yeah. I don't know if she's going to stay, but I'm sure she's going to come and sprinkle her magic. That's going to be wonderful. Brother Eric, you have the March issue of the magazine. It is on the website, and so you can actually access the full issue if you just click on this image on the website. And of course, the website is wcmagazine.net. Also, you'll be able to find this particular broadcast for the next week. We always tap into wcmagazine.net as your source for viewing this particular broadcast. It is linked to our YouTube page, so make sure you check that out. And I want to make an announcement, Brother Edward. My godson, Aiden Wilkes, who is the grandson of the late great Skeet Jones and the late great Pete Wilkes.
Right.
He's a new author.
Wow.
He has written a book at 9 years old.
Wow.
The Journey of Number 9. And he is my godson. And so I just received my copy today. I'm so excited.
So he wrote the book.
He wrote the book.
Wrote the book.
He wrote a book.
Where is he located? We got to get this guy and start talking with him.
He's going to be on the show in April, on April 21st. And let me tell you, Aiden is a very busy man. I'll put it to you like that. Aiden is an author. He's an actor. He's an athlete. He's recently starred in a Raisin in the Sun production. And they're hopefully bringing that to Horry County. And he's just doing some amazing things. In his 9 years, he has done a number of films, TV. He's modeled, he sings, he does everything. And he decided that he wanted to write a book about what I believe is his first love at this point, which is baseball. He is a baseball phenom. And so we're going to have Aiden on. We're going to have Aiden on the show in April. And I just want to share it. This book is available for purchase. And we'll post some information about that in the network and also on World Community Magazine, and may even put a little thumbnail on the website so that people can get it. But it's wonderful that even at 9 years old, he was inspired to write a book.
Absolutely.
He said that, it came in a dream. So it was divine intervention.
So how many pages is that book, April?
This is a chapter book. This book is actually 40 total of, it's 47 pages altogether. It's a little chapter book. So, I said to him, hey, we need to get this into some schools. Maybe the Academy of Hope can put this in their library.
Yeah, absolutely.
All the things. Yeah. So, we're going to have some wonderful programming for April, but we just want to thank everyone who blessed us for the month of March, for Women's History Month. We had wonderful guests throughout the month of March.
Great focus. We had some fantastic.
Yeah. People we'd never heard of before, knew a little bit about, celebrating a home girl who's doing her thing. And so it was wonderful. And again, if you will take a look at the magazine for the month of March, of course, by probably the second week in April, I'm sure Brother Edward will be ready with the April edition. But right now, the March edition is still available. If you just go click on it, you can see the full issue, lots of great stories. And other than that, Brother Elwood, I think we can call it a night. This was excellent.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, absolutely. The young lady mentioned that Miss Lenore was one of her mentors, who has since, I think she's talking about Lenore mentioned. I think she's passed by. I think she passed, right? So sorry they didn't correct that to her. But it's good to know that that took place. Okay.
Yeah, I think she was just really talking about people who've poured into her over the years.
Right.
Yeah. So it's good, like I said, Ms. Marjorie and Reverend Adamson, and even still, the legacy is always there. So it doesn't matter that, the person has actually joined that ancestral realm. If they poured into you and you are, moving off of the inspiration and the passion that was placed in you, you still have those people with you, as you do your work. So I think that's wonderful. And that's why they still work in us, even when they're long gone.
When she said, how many hundreds of students right now, right there in the 3 counties of Maryland? About 600, right? Something like that.
I thought she said 1,000, something like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But you know what? That's incredible too, because it is hard to get into the school systems to do any work, especially if you're not from a particular area.
Yeah.
And the fact that she's being embraced by the school systems, or at least has a way to, connect with young people, the students, that's wonderful. And I like the fact that it's youth and young women. So she shared that story about working with the young man. That's wonderful too. Even though it's Stella's Girls, there's still, options and programs that are relevant for the young males, and they need it as well too. So
absolutely.
Yes.
We didn't talk about that. I know it's called Stella's Girls, but the need is the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we thank everyone for being with us tonight, and please make sure that you share the broadcast across your social media pages, or you can go to our YouTube page and share the YouTube link. And a lot of people find that easier, especially if they're not on social media. They can go to our website and simply click on the image. You'll see the promo that we push out every single week, and just click on it and watch this broadcast. So thank you all for being with us. We really do appreciate it. And more great programming coming in the month of April. Just stay tuned.
All right. So Kaprece said, if you checked out the comments.
I did.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
That's
So,
good.
yeah. So everyone have a good
Fantastic.
night. Thank you so much.
Godspeed.
All right.
Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook.